Well, I'm back, and you know what? I'm just batch filming, let's be real. So right here I have a full stack. This video is going to be more about my goals as a reader in the 2019 year. So in the 2018, I challenged myself in many ways. I did the Back to the Classics challenge. I participated in a few book clubs that really brought me out of my comfort zone as a reader. More contemporary type of books, bestsellers that maybe wouldn't fit a Christian genre. Different genres even that I would have never really have chosen in the first place, like dystopian. This year was definitely a huge growth for me as a reader, but as with growth spurts, sometimes you kind of need to just keep a steady pace for a while instead of constantly having these growth spurts that just don't help you as a person. So I decided to start this year with this huge stack that I have been accumulating of Christian fiction. I am a Christian, and one of the things that kind of frustrates me about Christian fiction is fluff. I've read so many books over the years that I can't even tell you anything about them just because there wasn't anything to them. They were clean and therefore it was okay to read. But that doesn't make them a good book. Things that has stayed with me years, I have read over and over and over. Probably one of the #1 Christian books that I have read so many times because I love it so much is Lori Wick's Sophie's Heart. And it's about a young woman coming over from Czechoslovakia before the fall of the Berlin Wall to basically kind of be a live-in housekeeper for a widower and his 3 children. And Sophie is a beautiful character. And I have reread that one so many times. With all the Christian fluff, like, I would say that I was challenged most as a Christian in reading Christian books, or non-Christian books that basically kind of made me really think about why I believe the way I believe. I hope that's kind of understandable as to where I'm coming from. But after a while, you kind of get into a position where it's kind of how the Bible says you're always learning and never able to come to the knowledge of truth. There comes a point when I need a break from that, and this break is now.
This is my Benjamin. Are you my little big Ben? This boy was born at 9 pounds, 10 ounces. He was my little big Ben. What? And this kid that's going to jump in right now, huh, Steve? You going to jump in right now? That kid who doesn't want to be seen. Here we go. He was a 42-hour delivery. It took me 42 hours to get him out of this belly. How many did you worth it? It only took me 5 hours. You're worth it. I love you. I love you most. I love you.
Back to our regularly scheduled program. So this is a list or a stack of books that I have collected the last several months that I want to make a Christian fiction January. I've been trying to rack my brain for a catchy title and I haven't been able to. But so the first one on the list, and this will make the list, I will get this read in January, is Out of North Korea by Alana Terry. I have heard only great things about this. It's basically kind of loosely based on real life events. I can't wait to see what this book is going to be about. So this one is probably going to be the first one that I read for my 2019 Christian Fiction January. This is one that I requested and I got in my stocking for Christmas. Thank you, Mom. This is The Lady of Tarpon Springs by Judith Miller. The reason that I wanted to read this, I mean, doesn't that back just look so intriguing?
So, in 1905, Tarpon Springs, Florida, Zena Krekos values the independence her career as a lawyer gives her from her traditional Greek family. I mean, this is 1905. From the pressure they put on her to find a husband. So, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, 1905, and, like, Underwater Diver, 1905. This sounds amazing.
And again, Christian fiction. This is published by Bethany House. Judith Miller, I know I read some of hers. I can't think of anything. So, anyway, I can't wait to read this one. This one, like, really. Okay, moving on. This is one that I picked up in one of those little free libraries, I believe. This is Abraham's Well. I had started to read it, but I didn't get it finished. It is by Sharon Elwell Foster, and the story is about the Black Cherokee that did the Trail of Tears. So the Blacks and the Cherokees intermarried, and so it's kind of their story with that. So they learn to meet like Black slaves. They're on the Trail of Tears with the Cherokees, and it's kind of their untold story. So I thought this would be really interesting to read. I think this is a self-published book because this doesn't have a publishing house. Another one from Bethany House is For the Record by Regina Jennings. I have read some of her other books, and they tend to fall on kind of comedy. A lot like Mary Connolly, and there's another author that I can't think of. But anyway, so this one my sister gave me.
Rather than wait for a hero, she decided to create one. Betsy Huckabee has big city dreams, but nobody outside the tiny Pine Gap, Missouri seems interested in the articles she writes for her uncle's newspaper. Her hopes for independence may be crushed until the best idea she's ever had comes riding into town, and then we've got a deputy riding into town.
Enjoyment. We are again back to Bethany Publishing House. So this is the house on Foster Hill. I don't know this. I just know my mom really liked it, and I've had it on my shelf forever to read. That's all I can tell you about that one. Okay, so this one was one that I've purchased a while ago, and I've been waiting to read it, and it still hasn't happened. This is by Sarah Sundin, Sunrise at Normandy, The Sea Before Us, and this is the Women's Royal Naval Service, which I knew nothing about, and I thought this would be really interesting. It is a Christian kind of World War II stories, and I had this whole like stack of World War II books that I was reading through, like the Lilac Girls and Codename Verity and all these other ones that I was reading, and I had found this one, and I was like, okay, this is a Christian one, so it'll be like not so much language. Actually, there shouldn't be any. It's Christian fiction. You shouldn't have any language in here. So I was kind of like, yeah, I'll get to kind of get my World War II kick in and kind of with a clean mind as I'm reading it. So, and then Naval Women Officers, 1944. Yeah, I want to read this. So that's all I can tell you about this one. I just had it on my shelf for months to read. So this one is, oh yes, I've been waiting for this one. This is the third one in the the Shadows Over England series. This is book 3. This has to do with the book 2's main guy, her sister, who's like this genius, and so this is like her story, which brings in the siblings, brother, kind of leader of the pack, him and her. What is their story going to be? So this is like a lot of World War I espionage and history and story and stuff, which I really appreciate because there's so much World War II. We kind of need more World War I. And it's Christian, and so far I have loved every single one of these books. Now I've got a couple more here. They are by Liz Johnson. My mom, again, really loves these Red Door Inn series, and I don't think this is in this, but there's like 3 books, I think, of these, and so I can't wait to read them. 2 broken-hearted strangers are thrown together on Prince Edward Island. Yes, it's the Prince Edward Island series. Okay. To restore the Red Door Inn, will they learn to trust each other again? That's the summary. So, I would like to do that one. This one is another one that she just read. By the way, my mom reviews a ton of Christian fiction books. I'm going to leave her blog link down below because I know that there's several of you out there that really enjoyed those types of books. So, check out her blog below. She leaves honest reviews on all these books. Like, I help her work these things, and she's like, yeah, no, that didn't make the cut for me, and she will be honest about it. If there's some things that maybe she didn't like, but she could see other people really enjoying, she will be honest about that too. So, she's linked down below. So, but because she really loves Liz Johnson, I have these on the shelves to read. I don't know anything about this one. It's on my TBR. Okay, this one is A Gathering of Finches by Jane Kirkpatrick. I really liked her. It's something about a woman. It's about two women. She also wrote a book that I pretty sure I purchased. I don't know where it is. I need to find it. But the Year We Were Famous by Carol Etzby and all that. I did a review on that. It's based on true events. And it's about two women that basically bet $10,000 they could make a trail from Maine to San Francisco. They made a $10,000 bet they could do it in a certain number of in a certain number of days. And Jane Kirkpatrick actually wrote that. Jane Kirkpatrick is a Christian author. She wrote a book I really love, and it's been so long that I just remember really liking the book. This one's Gathering of Finches, and Cassie Hendricks journeys across the Oregon Trail coastal tidewaters in 1899 to begin her life beside a prosperous entrepreneur, Lewis Simpson, on the Oregon's wild and rugged coast. After her marriage, Cassie seems to have it all: an adoring husband, a loving sister, a daughter, and social position. And then there's more. One of the things that I really like about Jane Kirkpatrick is she really does a good job in creating Christian struggles that really make you contemplate how strong your faith is. Again, like some of them, Mary Connolly, they're just fun enjoyment. Like, there's nothing to really challenge me as a Christian. Jane Kirkpatrick really makes me think and just put myself in a position of, ooh, how strong would my faith be in this position kind of mindset. So I actually posted a picture of this on Instagram. I was reading it in the park one day. I got it started, and I actually had a few people say that they didn't like this book, and I just set it down at that point. It's like, you know what, I have other books that I want to read right now. I'll just set this aside. So I may not get to finishing this if it just doesn't go well. I mean, because look at the stack. Okay, so the last one that I have that is making the stack of trying to read sometime this year. Most of these, it's going to be like, this is my January pile. Like, this is what I want to work through. Which is unfortunate because I have Allegiance still to read, but oh well. So the last one that I have, and again, it was just given to me by my mom recently, as in, I know nothing about it. My mom's just like, here, you'll love it. Gotta love a mom that knows you that well, right? So this one is A Rumored Fortune by Joanna Davidson Politano? Yeah, her. Right there. See? I'll let you figure out how to say that. Okay.
So, welcome to Trevellyn Castle, home of the poorest heiress in Victoria, England. Tressa Hallow's father has kept his vast fortune hidden somewhere on his estate in the south of England and died suddenly without telling anyone where he has concealed it. Now, Tressa and her ailing mother are left with a mansion, an immense vineyard, and no money to run it. It doesn't take long for a bevy of opportunities to flock to the estate under the guise of offering condolences. Tressa knows what they are really up to. She'll have to work through rough and rusticated vineyard manager to keep the laborers content without pay and discover the key to finding her father's fortune before someone else finds it.
That one's also in my stack here. See what I mean? Oh my goodness. Okay. So those are what I'm going to be tackling in January. And another reading goal that I had of mine was to do something light, something a little bit heavier, and then a classic. So my, of course, heavier ones are going to be my nonfiction. I also have a huge stack of nonfiction. If I was to go and do this video would end up being like an hour long. The bulk of the nonfictions are basically like marriage, motherhood, and homeschool, mom, personal reflection, personal growth, I think is the word I'm looking for. There's Elizabeth George. I think there's a book on what it means to be a Lutheran. There's a number of them. I think I have one on head coverings too that I wanted to kind of read. We'll see where we get with that. But if you want a separate video just showing all of those books, go ahead and leave it in the comment section down below. I will be happy to share it with you. I'm not against it or anything. I just didn't think it was going to fit in this video with just my reading goals and what I'm hoping to tackle in the new year. So again, I've got the classics that I'm reading, Read the Classics Challenge. I have my Christian fiction just for January, like how many of these can I knock out in January. And I have a whole slew of other books that I want to read, so don't worry. If Christian fiction isn't your vibe, I still have more. Don't worry about it, but January is going to be all about Christian fiction. In November, I did a basically, I don't start a new book until I finish one. And that was a really good challenge for me. It was very realistic for me to just mainly focus on one book at a time. I really like that. I am the kind of person that tends to have 5 books going on at once just because sometimes I need a break from another one and I'll pick up another one. So this way it was my trying to balance everything out. With that, my nonfiction, I am going to be starting out with a 30-day kind of Bible or 30-day devotional type of thing to build my habit into making sure that I read it every day, because it is easier for me to put it off till the end of the day and then I don't do any of that at the end of the day, or I will be up all night trying to get as much in it as I can and not sleep, which is what I need, but I can also get lost in a really good book. So Christian fiction is really, really good for just before you go to sleep. There's actually a 4th challenge that I'm challenging myself this year. I want to start going through my children's books and reading those books, not just aloud to them, but to myself. There's often times that I pick up books that have, really great reviews, really great, just, I don't know what to say. Like, there's just a lot of hype about it. I end up reading them and I'm like, I don't want this on my shelf. That's gonna be it for this video. A lot of you were wanting to see what I'm gonna be doing in the new year. There you go. I can't wait to hear what you, my viewers, are planning on doing in the new year. Especially if you're watching this video, you must be a book nerd like me. Leave it down below. What are your goals for this new year? I'm kind of trying really hard to think about what I can realistically get and read and enjoy in a year's time, and if it doesn't fit that, then do I really need it? Go ahead and leave it down below. Tell me, what are you guys looking forward to in this new year, especially with reading. I can't wait to hear it. But until next time, have another cup of coffee or tea and read another chapter.